welcome to Week 14 of Walk the Plank, the Perry Athletic Department podcast that dives deep into the week that was Perry Athletics. And as always, I'm joined here by my co-host, Gene Winters. Welcome, Gene.
Yeah, thanks again. This is another exciting week. Not as much angst as last week, but another football win, and you got a winter sport starting this weekend as well that we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll dive into it a little bit here and talk about last week's football game, advancing to the regional finals yet again on a quest for another state championship. We're joined by some special guests today. We've got John Camp from the News Herald join us. I'm excited about that. But first things first, to my right is our athlete of the week, Armani Ciappone. Armani, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Here, first off, don't ever forget, we got to give the certificate. You get the DQ meal deal. Thank you to DQ for sponsoring our program here, our Athlete of the Week program. Well-deserved. I talked to Coach Geswich, Coach Niedzwiecki. They said you probably could have been here anywhere between week 1 and here we are in week 14. But let's just talk a little bit about your senior year and how it's been. We're 12-1 right now, playing in the regional final again. We've got Glenville this week. But just overall, how have you enjoyed your senior year here playing for the Perry Pirates?
I feel like it's just been a lot of fun. I've been playing football with these boys since second grade, most of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm just enjoying it while I can.
Yeah, no doubt. And then you guys have all played, so you've run the gamut then, from second grade playing youth football, middle school, freshman JV, and here we are. And we've got arguably one of the biggest games in Perry football history. Last year was huge, obviously, as well, winning a state championship. But playing Glenville this week, the game will be played at Nordonia High School, 7 p.m. On Friday. We're taping this show on a Tuesday. Hopefully, we can get it out to everybody, later tonight or tomorrow, so that you can have a couple of days to listen. But we'll get to Glenville in a second, but let's rehash to Streetsboro. This past week in the regional semifinals, they were an undefeated team. What was your mindset going into that game, coming off of a very close 3-0 win the week before against Struthers?
Well, I really only play defense, so against Struthers we let up 0 points, so I feel like on my side of the ball we did our jobs, but we knew offensively, like that week we had to practice a lot more, a lot crisper, and a lot better. And I feel like we did that, and it showed on the score.
And I think we talk about this almost every week, but you guys as a defensive unit almost feel slated a little bit because you do have an explosive offense, and offense usually gets the top billing because of scoring. But you guys are giving up less than 10 points a game. You guys are getting interceptions. You're causing turnovers. Do you kind of use that as a chip on your guys' shoulders and say, hey, we might be just as good as our offense?
I feel like going into each week, we just try and play football, really. And defense, some weeks has to step up. Some other weeks, like last week, the offense, Walter threw 5 touchdowns. Like, we just all play for each other, and it helps each other out.
We had Vince last week, another corner on the other side of you. How does he help improve your game, and you the same way back to him, having 2 corners that can eliminate the top wideouts on the other teams?
So Vince plays corner, and he really just shuts down everyone, and then I play safety for us. And then against Struthers, I had to play in the box more like a linebacker, but against Streetsboro, we were playing a lot of cover 0, so just having someone like Vince, Luke, Brody, just knowing they can shut everyone down, and then not only having to worry about my guy and being able to trust everyone on my team just means a lot.
So a little bit of just back knowledge on that for anybody who's listening, maybe not a football aficionado. What is cover 0? What can you explain that in layman's terms for some people out there?
So we were playing man-to-man with no high safety, so it's just you versus your guy, basically, and we had to win every play.
Win every play, one-on-one, no help over top.
No.
And that's a lot of respect, I guess, to Streetsboro as well, because we knew, again, we had to shut down their running game. They still ran the ball 80% of the time. Struthers the week before was probably even higher percentage of run. But playing that cover 0, and like you said, you've got to win every play. You get beat deep, there's no help behind you, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And you guys stepped up to the occasion. Now we start out, it's 24-7. We had turned the ball over on the first play of the game. Coach Geswich, Coach Niedzwiecki like actually taking the ball at the beginning of the game. Some coaches do, some don't, but we turned it over, so we stopped them right away. Your defense, you think offense is going to maybe be on the field for a while, and then it's a quick turn, and one play later, you're stepping onto the field. You guys shut them down. I think they went 3 and out. But then they did score right before half, and then they got the ball in the third quarter right away and went down and scored 24-21. What was your mindset at that point? Like, all right, hey, now we've got a ball game. We're up 17, but in back-to-back possessions, they've sort of clawed their way back in.
So going into halftime, Niedzwiecki was telling us like that the way we played and we're still up 10 was like surprising to him, and we were basically beating ourselves with stupid penalties, late hit, and a couple of face masks, and that if we want to beat them, we're just gonna have to clean up all our penalties.
No, and I think that's the easiest message, and obviously you guys have received that. And we've had a couple of the players on, and talking about your guys' practices and getting ready for certain opponents. Sometimes your scout team has been better than some of the teams you've seen throughout the year. So how does that help you become a better player? Now into the fact that you're getting deep into games and having to play maybe 4 quarters instead of a half.
For most of the regular season, besides probably just Kirtland, our scout team that we were going against every day was better than the people I was playing in the game against. And you see it when they go in the second half, they can hold their own against a varsity team. And I just feel like them preparing us every day, like it helps us like a lot right now, and it's helping them for next year when we're all gone.
And for you with the playing 4 quarters now, was that an easy transition back? Obviously, you guys are practicing the whole time, 2.5 hours, whatever. But in the game situations on Fridays, you might have only been playing a half for 10, 11 straight weeks.
It's a little bit of like something I have to get used to, but I feel like last year more I felt it than this year. I feel like I'm just used to it now, and our practices are really just like they make us play our practice like a game, and they want us to be exhausted during practice so we can play exhausted in the game.
And how has practice been this week? Speaking of that, we've had a couple of good weather days so far. Monday, Tuesday, it's still a little bit warm out. We're going to expect a little bit more windy, colder weather here later in the week. But how has practice been so far this week as we prep for Glenville on Friday night?
So practice yesterday, I felt like was pretty good defensively. We had an hour and 30 minutes of defense yesterday, and our ones were just like we went through our form rec, and everyone we basically once everyone was on the same page, we went into our run period, and everything was just clicking for us. Our sevens, everything was clicking, and then team, everything was just clicking. And then for the last 30 minutes, we were on offense, and our offense was moving against the scout D, which was trying to replicate the Glenville defense as best they can.
Tough job.
Yeah, but they were doing we were mixing some new things in, and it was working pretty well.
And I know Coach Niedzwiecki has our Sunday tradition. We talked a little bit about with Vince last week, but how has that been for you? So Sundays, it's a big film day, right? A big study day. You guys are going to watch film during the day, and then come in and meet as a group at night. How has that helped sort of bring our defense closer together and really allow you guys to step up in big games like a Struthers and get the shutout and really pitch after 21 points and back-to-back possessions from Streetsboro scoring, pitch a shutout for the rest of that game? How has that helped?
I just feel like those Sunday nights, and Niedzwiecki he tells us basically each person what your key is, what your job is, and he basically just makes everything easy for us. He just breaks it down position by position, and tells us what we need to do to beat the team across from us.
I was going to say, obviously Glenville this week. So what is I don't want to say glaring issue, or the biggest concern that you guys have, the biggest focus that you guys are looking at defensively to slow down their offense?
I feel like we just need to be more physical than them, because they're another big run team, especially with the weather that's going to be Friday. So we just need to be more physical and not take any plays off.
All right, well, we wish you nothing but the best here on Friday night as we will take on the Glenville Tarblooders in the regional final. Again, that game is at Nordonia High School, 7 p.m. kick. And again, I know talking to Coach Niedzwiecki, he was very complimentary of you and what you've been able to do for the defense, flying around a little bit all season long, making plays, whether it's a fumble or an interception or coming up and sticking somebody. So keep doing what you're doing. We're going to see a lot of run from Glenville, and I'm sure we'll be ready to go. All right, before we get you out of here, Armani, just a couple of questions for you. Get to know Armani Ciappone a little bit better here. How about, let's start with a favorite food.
I like bacon and eggs a lot.
Bacon and eggs. Anywhere in particular you look to get your bacon and eggs, or maybe it's your mom? What do you got?
I like when my grandma cooks.
Oh,
it
your
for us.
grandma, even going grandma. All right, excellent. How about a favorite movie or TV show?
I like Cobra Kai right now.
Okay.
More episodes just came out.
The old Karate Kid
Yeah.
spinoff. Okay, that's a new one, but I like where you're going. Favorite subject in school?
I started to like science a lot more.
Okay. And then your favorite athletic, accomplishment. Your favorite. It can be grade school all the way through high school. What are you going to remember the most after you graduate from here?
Just winning states last year with that team, because my first year playing football was with that grade above me.
Yeah.
So it just meant a lot to win it with them.
Oh, that's awesome. And then last one. Visit any place in the world. Money's not an object. You can go anywhere you want to go. Where are you headed?
I feel like Japan would be fun.
Okay. A little Far East Asia there. All right. Excellent. Armani, congratulations on being our Athlete of the Week. We wish you nothing but the best on Friday night. We'll be looking out there for you. You'll see red number 2 running around making plays. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks to Armani Ciappone, our male Athlete of the Week here at Perry High School. We'll have our female here down here in a little bit, and we can let you go. You can back to class or wherever you got to get to, I'm sure. And we'll bring up. Well, how do we want to transition here?
I think
Gene?
we could just throw John right in. We'll continue
right,
the
love
football theme, but as John's getting situated, Spirit Bus. You sign up again all the way until Thursday at noon.
Yeah, Thursday at noon, Spirit Bus. We had 70 plus kids last week, which was awesome. They had our Christmas theme last week, appropriate as we approach the holidays here, and we're hoping to get back to that number again. Now, the weather again is not, the forecast isn't great for Friday, but we've got about 30 signed up at the moment, so if we can get back to 70, 80 kids riding out to Nordonia, thank you especially to our booster club, our athletic boosters, is going to buy every kid's ticket. The OHSAA, it's a $5 ticket, so it's not outrageous, but our boosters is covering it and the cost of the bus as well to get everybody out there. So we want as many people to go enjoy it as possible. But as we move over to my right here, Mr. John Camp. Thanks, John, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey, John is a longtime reporter here for the News Herald and just does a fantastic job. News Herald in general. I will always sing their praises for what you guys do for high school sports. But I know you specifically have been around this team a lot this year, been around our wrestling programs and softball and all kinds of things. So thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I know that my schedule's been a little bit crazy. I've not been able to come in on some days, but I appreciate you guys having me out here. A lot of great memories growing up at Grand Valley and playing the Perry Pirates, and now covering the school. A lot of great people up here, so I'm very blessed.
That is another exciting week, obviously coming off the championship last year, putting together another fantastic run for Perry. So before we get into Glenville, just an overview of the team. What you've seen this year? What do you like? What maybe they improved on from last year? Just an overall overview of the Pirates.
The first thing that sticks out in mind is these kids are having a lot of fun out there, and that's really where it all begins, the joy in playing. If it's hard work and you're not having fun and you're not succeeding, it's a really hard sell to get kids to play football. Here, the kids are having fun, they're succeeding, it's just a self-sustaining monster right now, and they just got a lot of things going on. The offense is electric, up and down the field, a lot of fun plays. The defense is fast, athletic, smothering, and the kids just play so hard. And I think that's a reflection. I know a lot of the parents, and I think it's a reflection of the parents that came through this program, came through this school years ago, that you're starting to see, the chip off the old block.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a lot of fun, it's a very fun team to watch.
Well, I think too. I think Perry, whether it's football or basketball, wrestling. I think we're going to go to the last second that's on the clock. They're hard nosed. They're scrappy. We're a little smaller. We've always been smaller. I graduated from here over 30 years ago. We never had huge kids here, but they get after it, and they're going to give you every last bit of effort that they possibly can. So I especially see that in our defense, flying all over the field, 11 hats to the ball. That's an old saying that goes way back to Coach Ritley that we used to employ, and I think we're doing that today. And Coach Niedzwiecki and the defense doing an amazing job, not only preparing for each opponent, but I would anticipate a low-scoring game at Glenville this week with different weather factors and things, but I think they do a great job.
You brought up Coach Nizwicki. That
Yeah.
was a game changer.
Yeah.
Him coming into the program, head coaching experience. He is such a
Yeah.
student of the game. He doesn't get real high. He's not emotional like
No.
that. At least you don't see that on the sidelines, maybe
I
during
agree.
practice. But he is such a technician with what he wants to see defensively. The kids, if you put the kids in position to be successful, that's half the battle.
Yeah.
And these kids believe in the system. They're relentless. And if you don't know where you're going, you can't play fast. And these kids know where they're going. They know their assignments. They're playing fast. They're aggressive. And I think that's really, as fun as the offense is, I think the defense is really what makes this team special.
Yeah, agreed. And he's got some history with Coach Ginn.
Yeah.
So back to his he's coached at Glenville. He's coached Cardell Jones and some of those special players from Ohio State a while ago. So he and Coach Ginn know each other. I think that'll be an interesting sort of chess match to me on Friday night. His knowledge, and again, it's a long time ago, so I'm sure offenses have changed and playbooks have changed over time. But the fact that there is some history there and they know each other will be interesting to me.
It will be very interesting. And, you look at the talent level that Glenville has.
Yeah.
It has had over the years. Mr. Winters and I were talking a little bit about it's hard to simulate that in practice.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when I was at Grand Valley, and we go to the playoffs. We're playing Hawken, and you can scheme all you want that there's going to be a jet sweep that O.J. McDuffie is going to do. But listen, if you don't have that kind of kid that's running the jet sweep in practice, you step out there and it's like, whoa, he's already by me. So that's what makes it tough is simulating it in practice. But if anybody's up to it, it's this Perry defense because they are so relentless, they are so smart, they play so hard.
And one thing Coach Ginn has been able to do is just replace athlete after athlete every single year that he's been at Glenville. So, maybe it's part of the scheme, but when you have those guys that can just play football, that can run, that can do everything, just out athletic the other team is a big advantage that they have as well.
And it's one of those things that, what Perry prides itself on is its speed, maybe a little bit of misdirection, but, say, for instance, Walter runs a naked bootleg, and most times, he could run that for 15 yards.
Right.
Yeah, that closes down pretty fast against a Sincere Johnson that's got the speed he's got. So it'll be interesting. But like I said, I think it's going to be a great matchup. It's so rare to see two state champions play the following year in a regional game.
Right.
That is so rare. So
Yeah,
it'll
we can
be
take
great.
the OHSA for that one. We'll, they're putting Glenville back in Region 13. They have been in Region 14
Yes.
for the previous
Year of
4 or
5,
5
you
years.
go up to 4.
Yeah, we go up to 4 by 1 or 2 kids. Glenville comes into our region. I'm like, all right, I guess they want us to prove ourselves a little bit. But, hey, we'll see what happens on Friday night. But, yeah, Glenville will certainly be a test. And I look for our defense to step up. Now, let's talk about their defense a little bit, and we'll get into some of our offensive things as well from a Perry perspective. But Glenville's defense the last 2 weeks have shut out 2 previously undefeated teams in West Branch, and then last week, Lake Catholic, the number 1 ranked team in Division 4 at the time.
Yeah, they're going to come after Walter Moses. There's no doubt about that. You always can take away a quarterback's effectiveness if you make him move.
Yeah.
And also, not just that, but Luke Savon doesn't have time to run those 9 routes where you can throw the ball, it's in the air for 30, 40 yards.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to have that luxury this week because they're going to come. They came after Frankie Trinetti last week and really made a move. They got 4 picks in the first quarter. So, it's going.
Were you at that? Did you cover that game?
No, I was at
You
Mentor
were at
and St.
Mentor.
Ed's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we were getting reports from the Glenville. Obviously, we're keeping a close eye on Glenville or Lake Catholic. We knew either would be a great test for us. And just keeping an eye. And we had heard 4 interceptions in the first quarter. And they were still only down, I think, 7-0, or maybe it was 13-0 at the half. Quite an accomplishment by Lake if you're going to turn that over. But I agree. I think the pressure's coming, and we're going to have to adjust and adapt as best as possible.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that could come and play here. They're an extraordinarily aggressive defense. Does a misdirection or a trick play work? Maybe. Do you run the shorter routes? Maybe. Something else that comes into play, though, a quick bubble screen that you have a tight window to get into. The Walter's got an extraordinarily good arm. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got parents that played college baseball and softball.
Yep.
He's got an arm, but you don't have the same type of window because the closing speed from either a linebacker or safety that comes in on that, and that's what got Trinetti in trouble last week.
Yeah.
Is that window is a lot smaller when you got a faster athlete coming
Yeah.
downhill against that, and that's where the picks happen.
Yeah, he's going to get the ball out of his hand pretty quickly here and make some quick reads, and I'm sure they're going through that in the practice scenarios. Like, all right, we're going to have to almost be a step ahead of maybe where we're usually at. If it's usually a 5-step drop, maybe it's a 3-step drop, or hey, like you mentioned, a bubble screen. Just get some quick hitters and see what we can get going. The weather, unfortunately, probably does not help us. Maybe helps Glenville a little bit more, but we'll see what happens on Friday night from a weather perspective.
And I think that one thing that has helped Perry this year is the emergence of Carter Hopkins at running back.
Yeah.
Has really helped, maybe take some of that load off, where he'll be a big factor. I wouldn't be surprised if, Owen McCoon had a couple more carries, where you rotate a couple more guys and just try to find that spark.
And just try to catch them someplace.
Yeah.
Maybe get some bodies out of the box because let's be honest, Glenville's defensive front is significantly bigger than Perry's offensive
Sure.
line. That being said, I asked Coach Guesswich just the other day, when's the last time you were bigger than a team? And I don't think it's happened.
No.
I mean, it's been a long time. You probably have to go back to the days of Billy Miller the last time that you guys were bigger than somebody.
Right, I would agree.
So-
And that just goes back, it's historically been that way. I mean, for
Yeah.
30, 40 years, we've just been sort of smaller, scrappier. I think we're better football players, but we're not bigger than many of our teams that we play. So
No, you're probably talking about the last how many years you guys lost pregame just watching you run on the
right,
field because
yeah.
the other team's bigger than you. It is not
Sure.
translated to the win-loss column.
Right,
So,
yeah.
you guys are going to still go out there. Perry's still going to fight it, duke it out, play hard, play fast, and it's going to go to the last whistle.
yeah, and our offense is, Gene put this in our notes, like explosive is a good word for our offense, and I think Glenville's defense is very good at shutting down those type of explosive offenses. But Walter Moses sort of makes this offense tick and go. He had 5 touchdowns last week. Carter had 3. He had two catches and a run. But, Walter's a finalist for the Tony Fisher Award. So what, in your mind, what makes Walter a special player?
I think it's just a combination. He's got the total package. First of all, genes.
Yeah.
Amy and Sean are both exceptional college athletes. You've got discipline. He always makes the right decisions. He's always makes the right choices. He's a good human being.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership. He gives out there. He commands the huddle, and he's got a great rapport off the field with his teammates. They're going out and playing golf. They're going out and playing paintball. And he's a student of the game. He'll sit there and he'll watch film. You look at it, it's like, okay, well, what can we exploit on Walter Moses? It's really hard to say. He's really the prototypical quarterback that you want leading your high school program because he does everything so well. Physically, mentally, athletically, leadership. He really is the package.
And he has some great weapons to throw to,
Yeah.
and I know he'll be the first to tell you that makes his job a lot easier. Like a Luke Savant, number 1 out there, split out. We move him around the field to try to get some matchups a lot of the time. But the fastest kid to come through, Perry, historically has run a 4.39, legit 40 time, has some D1 offers on the table. How do you think, Luke, what is Glenville going to are they able to take him away single, or are they going to have to double him? He's seen a lot of double and almost sometimes 3 people sitting over top of him all year long.
Before I will answer that
Yeah.
question in a second, but there's one more thing I want to add about Walter
Yeah,
Moses.
yeah.
Do you know how many kids, and it's in the 90th percentile, if not higher, that would be upset that they were taken out of the state championship game?
Yeah.
He is so team first, because you just brought it up, that he will tell you it's his skill set around him. It's his line in front of him.
Yeah.
He's the last person that will accept a compliment about his play. In the second half of last year's state championship game, they just took out the middleman, took him out, took out a first-team All-Ohio quarterback,
Yeah.
and just snapped the ball right to Braden.
Yeah.
And who was the first person who was celebrating with Braden coming off the field? It was Walter Moses. I mean, that is the type of kid right there. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't fawn about him enough. I mean,
Right.
he is really special.
Yeah.
To your point,
Yeah.
Luke Savant, very special athlete.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back a while. I'd have to think.
That's the end of the bell school day. So
I would have to think long and hard about someone who was, Crowfoot. Who was the last someone we had at Perry that could pick him up and put him down like that?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
So That being said, Glenville's got a lot of those.
Yeah,
So
right.
my guess is until Perry shows that they can beat them over top with Luke Savon,
Right.
that they're probably going to just single cover that.
Yeah.
Now, if there's an adjustment that will need to be made, they'll make an adjustment on that. But I think you're going to see a lot of man-to-man, maybe some single high safety, but I think you're going to see a lot of very aggressive man-to-man. But where that could work out for Perry, too, is if you happen to get like a quarterback a draw
Yeah.
or something like that, everybody's backs turned to the ball.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways to go about that, but I would be surprised if they start the game double or triple teaming Luke Savon.
And Carter Hopkins has been such a huge asset to this offense,
Yes.
and a pleasant surprise as a sophomore. I know at the beginning of the year we knew the talent that he had, but you never know what
Yeah.
you're going to get out of a sophomore. And Carter has just answered the bell time after time after time. We run that pitch sweep pretty well with him. You know, he got involved in the passing game. You know, a little screen game as well. Maybe help stop that ferocious front five of Glenville and slow them down a little bit with the screen or something. But I know with Carter and McCoon and Darian Howard, a little bowling ball back there, you know, I think our running backs can cause some issues, you know, depending on the situations. Again, we're not going to come out and blow Glenville off the ball, but you know, I'm very happy and proud of where our running backs are and what they can do on Friday night.
Yeah, and that, you know, if you can just catch a crease, just catch a handful of yards, you know, maybe some misdirection there where you've
Yeah.
got a jet sweep and you can run a counter off of that. There's a lot of stuff you can do to try to take advantage of an over pursuing defense. Because it is a very aggressive Glenville defense. And here's the thing, Kirtland gave you guys a really good look.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can do throughout the regular season that's going to prepare for you for what you're going to see in this game because you just don't see this in Division 4.
No.
It is such an anomaly. But that being said, I don't want to make it sound like it's an impossible task.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have to also have your eyes wide open going into this game. But I think Perry is going to be they are so well coached. They will be prepared to the tilt. There's no doubt about that.
Well, and the coaches started talking about it right after the game last week. Like they were excited. And obviously we're excited to win. And Streetsboro is an undefeated team, a great program, great coaching staff over there, and Pete Thompson and his crew. But so they were excited about that. But they were already starting to revel in this is going to be a fun week. This is what we've talked about since we knew we were going to be in D4, since we knew Glenville was going to be in our region. This is what they wanted from a coaching staff. So they were excited, and it was already starting to carry over from the kids. You saw the everybody's smiling and excited about what this process was going to be this week. And we really only we had the Sunday, the film session, and the Monday, practice. Here we are. It's Tuesday. We haven't practiced yet. So I know they're excited about the week to come. So.
And I'm sure you've seen this a couple times, John, where this is the game for Perry where you have nothing to lose, right? No one's expecting you to win. You go out there and you surprise or you shock or and I think Coach Geswich has been good in his time here at Perry where you go into a game thinking, they don't have a chance, and they come out and beat somebody. I don't want to say blow the doors off because that's not going to happen in this game, but you come out and you go out and win the game. And I think that could be that advantage that they use of, hey, we'll just go out there and have fun. We have nothing to lose here. No one's expecting us to win, and we can go and shock somebody like they did last year before the state championship game with the game before where a lot of people thought was that South Range where they thought they were going to lose the week before the championship game, and they ended up coming up and winning.
Harvest Prep.
Oh, yeah.
Harvest
So-
Prep.
Harvest
Yeah.
Prep.
Yep.
Yeah, and that comes back to culture and the Perry culture. And I think that's something that has stood the test of time all the way back from Coach Ritt to where we are right now, Coach Rosati, all the way through is no matter who you step on the field against. I mean, when Perry goes down and plays Steubenville, Coach Reno's team, everyone's
Yeah.
like, they got no shot. They go, hey, you know what? We are letting it out there. We are going to bust our butts because we're not just representing ourselves. We're representing that name on our jersey and everybody who lined the streets waving to us on the way out.
Yeah.
That was so special about that state championship game last year was the lineage over the years of everybody from Perry. That championship wasn't just for the team and the school. That was for everybody that came before them. And every time Perry takes the field, they carry that banner with them. It's kind of like, not to be cheesy, but it's kind of like the last Star Wars movie, I'm all the Jedi. And that's what it is. They are all the Perry. They know that they've got this town behind them, and that's something. No matter what, you've got that lineage. You are playing for your entire history, and that's what these kids do every single snap.
And I know this is a Perry podcast, but there's 3 other teams locally that are still alive that I just wanted to get your thoughts on before we let you go, and since we have you. But first one, Mentor. I mean, obviously Division I, my alma mater. They have another big game this week. Is this finally the year they get back to the state championship game and possibly finally bring one home?
It's hard to predict a game and say, oh yeah, Mentor's going to get it done when the other guys are St. Ed's.
You're right.
And someone asked me the other day, is St. Ed's down? Yeah, but that's also a sliding scale.
Sure.
Because how often are you going to graduate a defensive end who went Power 4? How often are you going to have an offensive line where 2 kids went to Ohio State, one went to Michigan? Are they a step down from that? Yeah, but most people would like to have their step down.
You're right.
and Coach Lombardo is a tremendous coach. I think it's going to be a great game. I really do. The one thing about this Mentor team that impresses me, historically, they've always scored. When they had Mitch Trubisky, when they had Connor Kazanchik, when they had Jacob Snow, they always scored. The question mark about dinged them more than once was defense. Not sure what. Coach DeCesar, the DC over there, is doing a great job. This is the fastest, most aggressive. They remind me a lot of your defense, where they don't have 270-pound defensive linemen. They don't have these 6'4", 210-pound defensive ends, but they just play so hard. Spencer Barninger and Caden Clare, Ben Schenk, those linebackers, the front 7, Julian Solis on those line. They just get after it, play so aggressive. I think that's where the difference is going to be made, is if with that defense that Mentor's got.
And then, of course, in Division III, you got Gilmore and Ursuline. Gilmore putting together a fantastic year coming into that one, 12-1.
Extremely electric offense. I mean, you look at, I've never seen numbers like this before. I've been around a long time. I mean, Cooper Pantek has thrown for 2,800 plus yards, 36 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and those both came in week 10. I mean, That is just insane numbers. Now, he's a lot like Walter in that it's everybody but him. He goes, I got great guys. Hey, look at how many yards after catch I've got. Look at my offensive line. They're not. He's a lot like Walter at that. But what a great field general he is. His dad and his uncle were starters at St. Ignatius back in the day when I played college football. The one thing that I just can't get over in my head is that VASJ running clocked Gilmore. And then 2 weeks ago, at the end of the first quarter, Youngstown Ursuline was beating St. Joe's 30-0. So someplace in there, as good as Gilmore's offense is, they're going to have to get some stops against DC Farrell, because that kid at quarterback is a freak show.
Well, that's what I've heard. I talked to the AD down at Aurora, Paul Powers, and they were actually winning 10-9 in the second half. And then, the quarterback took over, and he's like, it was like backyard football. Running around, he's just a better athlete than pretty much everybody on the field, right? And he was just making play after play, and they scored, I think, 21 unanswered and sort of ran away from Aurora there. So,
when I saw the Ursuline play this year, and I don't want to put too much on this kid's shoulders, but he's so much like Lamar Jackson that you think you've got him defended right, and he's got that escapability, and next thing you know, he's going, oh yeah, I got 3 guys surround him. He slips through that, and next thing you know, he finds a dump off someplace, or he runs 50 yards for a touchdown. Everything that you did correctly, that you game planned it right, you defended him right, and he still makes a play, and that's disheartening, and that's what DC Farrell is.
Yeah. Well, and then our fellow CVC school, Kirtland, traveling over, I guess, to North Royalton Stadium for their matchup with Dalton. And I know you'll be covering that game. What are you looking for from the Hornets this week?
That's going to be a great game. The big thing is just going to be how healthy Kirtland is, because they're so dinged up. The first time they played Dalton, 55-34, 34 points is the most anybody scored on them since they lost. They got running clocked, believe it or not.
Wow. By
Marion Local in the state championship game in 2018. It's been a while.
Okay, yeah.
They got drilled in that game, and that's the first time they've gotten running clocked since.
Right.
Not running clocked. It's the first time they gave up 34 points since then. But in that game, Jake Laverty ran for 300 yards. He's got a broken arm right now. Will he be back this week? I don't know.
Right.
Tyler Turk, their leading tackler on defense. He's been missed the last couple of games with a knee injury. Wow. Ryan Kamey, one of their top defensive backs, he's got a broken collarbone. So you're missing some guys on that defense. That being said, they always find guys to play. These guys have been out, and they've still shut out 6 opponents. So it is what it is. They're going to have to get running games from Danny Alfieri and Jack Lessick and John Silvestro, because you look at what Dalton is, they're different than last year. They still have Samuel Tomlinson, a 1,000-yard running back, but they spread you out now, and they can dink and dunk you with the passing game. I think it's going to be a heck of a game. The bad weather hurts Dalton more than it hurts Kirtland.
Yeah.
And I think you guys, unfortunately, you guys saw that.
Yeah, we did. That for sure helped Kirtland.
But that is
They were
going
able
to be a marquee game. You're talking a team that was a state champion last year and a state runner-up last year.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another great matchup. I know the Perry-Glenville game, for those of you listening, is the Spectrum game of the week for the northern part of Ohio. So that was, I guess I wasn't shocked by that, but with Mentor and Eds out there and Kirtland and Dalton out there, you never know exactly where Spectrum's going to go. But we got the nod, and that'll be exciting. I know our kids are excited to play on a big stage in front of at least this third of the state. So. John, thanks for joining us. Gene, any other questions for John?
It was a pleasure.
I mean, just maybe a little bit of a preview back to some Perry stuff now. Wrestling's right around the corner. I know that's your
What a great
love and
team you
your
guys have.
passion.
Yeah.
There in the wintertime especially is your go-to. What are you looking for the Pirates on the mat?
Oh, that is a tremendous team out there, top to bottom. I mean, they have got dudes, down low, Chance Schlau, you got, Anthony Trentinelli. I think there's another Trentinelli coming up.
There
That's
is.
going to be
We got
106.
two, yeah.
But everything else, all the way up through, is loaded. I mean, and I saw the roster the other day. If Trent Taylor comes in and wrestles 285, wrestles heavyweight, the advantage he's going to have on speed and leverage on a lot of these other guys. I mean, that's a fun lineup, top to bottom. I tell you what, there are two. You look at the News Herald area, two decided teams, head and shoulders above everybody else is going to be Perry and Lake Catholic. Yeah. Those two teams. If I have not looked at the schedule yet, if you guys wrestle them in a duel, I will be there.
All right.
I will be there.
I'll see if I can get Eric on the phone and get that scheduled.
There you go. There you go.
And then girls basketball as well. We'll talk about this a little bit. Our girls season kicks off this Saturday. We're at Gilmore. So I'm not doing the team any favors by putting them against the Lancers right off the bat. And it wasn't supposed to work out that way, but because of the sectionals that moved up a week earlier now with 7 divisions in basketball, we had to move that game, and this is where it ended up. So we'll see what happens.
And, I will say this. Roy is one of the best coaches, pound for pound, of any sport, boys or girls, in the News Herald area. That guy right there gets more. It doesn't matter who graduates. I mean, he graduated 2,000-point scores in the same season, and he came out, and I think he went to the district final the next year. He is a tremendous coach. He, it's almost like chess. Okay, these are the pieces I've got. I'm going to make a winner. He could buy groceries at Dollar General and make a masterpiece. I mean, he is just.
I like that analogy. I've not heard that one before.
He's exceptional.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to the season as they get things underway Saturday at Gilmore, and then our first home opener will be December 4th here as we host North. So we're going to be tested right off the bat here on the girls' side, and we're excited for winter sports as well. Not only. Wrestling is going to have a fun run. Girls basketball, boys basketball will get underway here about mid-December, and then our swim and dive programs will start, first week of December, right after Thanksgiving as well. So, looking forward to some fun here in the wintertime.
Fun time. It's always a fun time of year. Hey, you know what? I know it's a little bit hectic for you because you're an athletic director, and yikes, I don't know how you do it. Kudos to you, but it's a real labor of love. I grew up on a dairy farm in southern Ashtabula County, and now I'm getting paid to go to games. I mean, this is a great world, or what?
Right. All right. Well, John, that's a great way to look at life and a great way to look at high school athletics. And again, you guys do such a great job overall at News Herald, but we appreciate your support and all that you've done to cover us here at Perry High School in your time at the News Herald. And I know you won't be there on Friday night, but I'm sure you'll be following along a little bit. You'll be busy, but we'll let you know how we're doing. Hopefully the Pirates can come out victorious, and we'd love to have you back here down the road.
Absolutely. Always available. So glad you guys had me come in here, and good luck this week. Give him all you got.
All right. That sounds good. John Camp of the News Herald joining us here on the Perry Athletic Department podcast. Thanks again for John and his time.
Yeah, just another exciting day. Everything wrapped into one. You get the football, you get a little dabble of wrestling, and that's what is nice about local reporters too, where you can just touch on anything, throw anything at them, and they have the knowledge of it all.
He's saying all these names over here. I'm like, that's unbelievable. Like, I know our kids, obviously,
Right.
but like to know 30 area schools or whatever is in our area is pretty impressive. So John does a great job. As we transition, we'll bring up Lily Bowman into our hot seat over here. She is our female athlete of the week. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Thanks
All
so
right.
much.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Love to have you back. Thanks for joining us. Kudos to Gene for getting John on the program here. I know he's a busy guy, so thank you. Lily, have a seat. Welcome in. First things first, we're going to give you our Dairy Queen free meal deal. You get a Blizzard and a meal deal at DQ. Your name will be up there on the board this week as well. So congratulations. Coach Horsfall nominated you as our athlete of the week. And cheer is one of those sports, and we talked last week. We do consider it is a sport here. You guys are working hard and supporting our team on Friday night, but working hard during the week also. But how is it? How is your season gone? Tell us a little bit about some of your highlights of the season thus far.
I think for me at least, our season's going really well.
Good.
I mean, we started back in June, and we've really stepped up the stunting game this year a lot. This is our first year getting all the way up to extension. That's really exciting, and I don't know.
Okay.
It's just fun.
Well, let's talk specifically about the stunt team because that is new.
Yeah.
The Chagrin Valley Conference. Now we had to go in as athletic directors and principals and sort of amend our bylaws and our constitution and make it so it's legal for you guys to stunt. But how has that changed the dynamic of things, and how long do you practice stunting? I guess during practice is it a focal point? Because you make me nervous. You guys are up there jumping around and you're in triangles and flips and all kinds of stuff. So, it's awesome. So I'm just excited you guys are able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we spend at least an hour a week,
Okay.
just hammering out new stunts and trying new things. And I mean, it takes a lot of practice to be able to get it out there on Friday nights.
All right.
Well, take us through a week of practice. So, like on a Monday, what do you guys do on Monday, Tuesday, and down the line till you get to a Friday? Not every detail, but
Yeah.
a general overview.
So we usually practice Tuesdays and Thursdays and then Fridays before the games. And so Tuesdays is we'll come up with like our quarter cheers and we'll come up with stunts. And then Thursdays we'll practice all that stuff and we make the student section signs.
Awesome.
And then Fridays before the games we go over everything and we practice stunts and make sure that everything goes smoothly.
And I'm sure it's not every week is the same thing.
Oh,
so
it's not.
Every week you come in with a new
Yeah.
idea. Do you guys share ideas with each other? Does coach bring the ideas? How does that dynamic of it work to figure out what you're going to do on a Friday?
It really depends. Sometimes we'll find stuff and we'll bring it to our coach and we'll be like, hey, can we try this? And we put it up and we watch everything. Or sometimes even she'll bring stuff to us and she's like, oh, I know you guys can do this. Let's put it together. So it's a lot of fun.
Is it watching other college games, high school games? Where do you guys get the ideas to try something new?
So a lot of the stuff comes from our 3-day camp that we do in August, but some of the stuff we either see competition teams or college teams and we're like, oh, hey, that looks really cool. We should try that. So it's a little bit of everything.
Oh, that is awesome. And I know you mentioned the student section, so we talked
Yeah.
about our Spirit Bus earlier in the week, but there's still enough time here as people are listening on Wednesday or Thursday. You can add your name to the Spirit Bus sign-up sheet. We're going to leave at 5:30 from the front bus loop. We'd love to get 70 or 80 kids like we did last week. And then you make the signs. Do you work with them on the theme? Like last week's theme was Christmas.
Yeah.
And this week, I believe, is ski, if I'm not. What's the weather will probably be pretty good for that theme, I guess. So
Yeah, so our senior Addie, she coordinates with the student section
Okay.
leaders and we find out the theme and then we make our sign based off the theme.
That's awesome. And then, for you personally, when did you get involved with cheer? Have you been doing this since you were a little kid? You see, we have our media day event in August, and you see the 70 or 80 little girls out there cheering. And were you doing it at that point too, and you've just stuck with it, or is this something you've picked up recently?
Yeah, I started in the youth program when I was in kindergarten
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
I worked my way up through youth and then the middle school and now I'm in the high school program.
Okay.
So I've been with it for a while, but I love it and I wouldn't have it any other way.
And does it feel extra special now that you're a varsity
Yeah.
cheerleader, seeing the young kids come out and cheer with you or aspire to be at the point you're at now?
Yeah, I just remember when I was a little kid looking up to the varsity cheerleaders and now it's I have little kids looking up to me and it's a full circle moment. I'm really grateful.
Well, yeah, so we had that, our youth night. One of our last games of the year is against West Geauga. They were out there cheering with you guys for
Yeah.
first quarter. Lots of little ones out there,
Yeah.
and then I think our middle school stayed with us for the whole first half. And so, what is it like to help mentor those middle school kids? Because they might be cheering with you next year. I mean,
Yeah.
getting them ready to go at the next level.
So I've actually been working a lot in the middle school program. They have a new coach for the basketball
Yeah,
season, and
Coach
so
Reed.
yeah, she's asked me to step in, and
Oh,
I've
awesome. That's
been
great.
working with the girls 1 or 2 times a week, just teaching them material and dances. And I mean, basketball is a lot different than football,
Yeah.
so. But yeah, I really enjoy working with the middle schoolers too. 'Cause-
All right, and I know we'll have our youth night again, our youth cheerleading camp and clinic
Yeah.
coming up in January, and then they'll cheer with us at halftime of a basketball game in January. So yeah, it's exciting stuff. Let's talk a little bit about the cheer showcase. So at the end of October, again, you guys are always your front center on Friday night, and if you're JV or JV cheerleaders Saturday morning for the football season. But that's your one event per week, and then the Chagrin Valley Conference. I give a lot of credit to them for coming up with the idea. It's been 7 or 8 years now that we've had the cheer showcase, and it rotates locations. We were fortunate enough to host it here at Perry 3-4 years ago. But just talk about that and what that means to you guys to all get together, 20 plus schools from the Chagrin Valley Conference, and sort of show what you've got.
I mean, I love the showcase every year. We
Yeah.
put a lot of hard work into our routines, and then like going there Saturday and seeing all the other schools and all the
Yeah.
different styles, like it's inspiring. And we like look at other schools and we're like, ooh, like we like that, like
Yeah.
so it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
For that showcase, is it a special routine you guys do, or is it bits and pieces of maybe something you guys did with the previous 4 or 5 weeks of the season?
So we have at our camp, we get taught 3 dances, and we like dedicate one of those dances to the showcase. So it's like nothing that anybody's seen before.
Right. That's pretty sweet. I love that. I love, again, that the CVC allows us to do that. And again, because we consider it a sport, we want to promote our girls. And I heard we did a great job. I'm biased, obviously, but I heard we rocked it and that we were the best school there. So I'm just saying, there's no competition, there's no
Yeah.
points or anything like that assigned. No award that you're going to see hanging on the wall, but I know you guys did a great job. So continue the great work. And as we transition in here, hopefully we get a win on Friday and we keep this football thing
Yeah.
going. But winter will be here before we know it. And now moving inside to cheer, how does that different for you being basketball versus a football?
Yeah, basketball, there's some things that are different. A lot of the stunts, like the regulations, get heavier once
Okay.
we're inside.
Yeah.
And like basketball, you have to be a lot more aware of what's happening because
Right.
you're more likely to get hit by a ball or a player.
Right.
And basketball is a lot more fast paced. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they're on offense. Wait, now they're on
Yeah,
defense. Like we
right.
got to switch. So
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Well, it'll be exciting times no matter what. Lily
Yeah.
Bowman, our female athlete of the week here at Perry Athletic Department. Congratulations
Thank
on a
you.
great year so far. Congratulations on this award.
Thank you.
Before we let you leave, just some off-the-wall questions. Get to know
Okay.
you a little bit better, so everybody out there listening can hear what. Let's start with food. What's your favorite food?
Ooh, my favorite food is probably pasta.
Okay, and then to go along with that, anywhere you want to get your pasta, favorite restaurant or favorite relative that might make the pasta or the sauce?
I really like Joey's in
Okay,
Madison.
that's very good. All right, we'll go with Joey's. I like it. And Joey does a great job. They supported us huge last year in the postseason run. They did a lot of food and different things for our programs last year. So love Joey's. Favorite subject in school?
I really like science.
Okay, double science
Yeah.
today. Our mine
Yeah.
was a science as well, so that's good. How about your favorite movie or television show?
My favorite movie has to be The Mighty Ducks.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, hockey.
Yeah.
That's the first one we've had.
Yeah, that for sure. All right, and then your favorite accomplishment or memory from Perry Athletics, and it can be, like you said, kindergarten, when you started cheering, all the way on up, and anything that you're going to most proud of in your time here so
I
far.
think the thing I'm most proud of was making varsity as a freshman last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that was really cool. And
Well, it's
just
awesome because it
special.
doesn't happen, and
Yeah.
it's not every day that it happens. So I definitely would chalk that up there at the
Yeah.
very top. So awesome. How about if you could visit any place in the world? Money's not an object. You're gonna get there. You're gonna stay there. Where are you gonna try?
That's a good question. Probably, I would say like I really want to go to Hawaii.
Okay.
It's not far-ish, but
No,
it's
it's
still,
far enough. It's
yeah.
a good 8 hours on a plane
Yeah.
plus, or maybe that's way off. I don't know, but I've never been there, so
Yeah.
I would want to go as well. That's a good answer. All right, Lily Bowman, thank you. Congratulations on our Athlete of the Week.
Thank
Have
you.
fun on Friday at the regional
I
final
will.
game. Stay warm, stay dry.
I will.
And we'll see you down the road here in basketball season as well. Lily Bowman joining us as our female Athlete of the Week.
Yeah, another cheerleader that came in. Another exciting to get to know a little bit
Yeah.
more about the cheer side, because again, it's not just showing up on Friday and being on the sideline.
Right.
There's a lot of work that goes into it, and it's not just starting, the week of the regular season.
Yeah, and they go all summer as well. So like they're just like any other sport. We start June 1. Our fall sports teams and winter sports teams will start having off-season workouts June 1 to July 31, and cheers right along with them. So they're going to camps, they're doing different things, they're getting ready to go for the season. So hats off to Coach Horsfall and to all of our cheerleaders for what they do for our teams.
Yeah, there's another exciting week here at Perry. We touched on the football, and we'll
Yep.
circle back to that in a second. But we kind of touched on it. Girls basketball starts this weekend. They'll be at Gilmore for JV and varsity, but 6 of the first 7 on the road. So again,
Yeah.
the schedule maker did not do any of the Perry teams a
No,
favor.
it's been a theme so far
Yeah.
in some podcasts, but some of those are league games, Sugar and Valley Conference games, and that's just how those go. But then obviously Gilmore's a non-conference. Chardon was actually supposed to be in this spot, and then they had their coach ended up with a scheduling conflict, and I believe having some surgery and things like that. So they can't play this weekend. So, and then. Now that there's 7 divisions, I think we should talk about that a little
Yes.
bit for both basketball, boys and girls. That has forced the sectional tournaments and district tournaments and ultimately the state tournaments to be moved up a week because there's going to be more games and more levels to get through, so to speak. So because of that, we had to move Gilmore they were scheduled for really our last game of the year. And Coach and Fabi like to use that game as a tune-up because Gilmore's got a very strong program, and it's good competition to go against after your seed has been determined, and probably going to be one of the best, if not the best team that you're going to see in the postseason in that last regular season game. We like to have them in that spot, but we had to move it up, and here they are sitting at game number 1 for our Lady Pirates on Saturday.
And now with the switch of divisions, are they a Division 4 in basketball?
We're Division 4 in basketball, so pretty much just like volleyball. And you'll see that basketball on the boys' side, we're Division 4, just like we're in football. Wrestling has not yet gone. We're pushing hard for more divisions in wrestling and track and cross country. Those are some of the sports that have not moved into the bigger divisions, but wrestling will be a D2. So just like football is up a division in D4, wrestling goes up a division in D2. But again, as John said, I'm super excited about our upcoming wrestling season, what we've got on store for some of our opponents on the mat this winter.
Well, Coach Trenelli came out
Yeah.
as we were waiting to come back here to tape the podcast, popped into the athletic office,
Yeah.
talked with John and I
Oh,
for a
good.
little bit
Okay.
before. So it would be nice when we get him into the
We'll
into
get
the
all of
hot
our
seat.
winter coaches in here, and we'll probably, depending on what football does this week, if we win, we'll get Coach Gueswich in here as we preview the Final Four game, and if it doesn't go our way, we'll transition right into winter. We'll get Coach Infalvi, Coach Trent in here, Coach Isofano, Coach Scheider. We can talk some gymnastics as well. We have a team for the first time, as we learned from Marley Freeman a few weeks ago. So yeah, it's an exciting time here. We're ready to go Friday night, and we'll let it all hang out, see what happens against Glenville.
So the 3 important things: one, it's the big matchup against Glenville on Friday.
Yep.
Get out, support the team out at Nordonia High School. Second, the Spirit Bus. You could still sign up.
Correct. Spirit Bus, we'd love to get 200 kids on. We'll take however many kids we can get to come cheer on this team. And, the other thing we should probably note, again, will be the Spectrum game of the
Yes.
week. So there won't be a live stream. Our group can't live stream it. CVC TV can't live stream it. Spectrum has rights affiliated with the OHSAA. So that's the only way the game can be seen, but it can be live on Spectrum Channel 1, which is their main channel there right on Spectrum. So hopefully, if you can't make it out to the game on Friday, get nice and warm and get ready to watch the Pirates hopefully win a big-time football game. Division 4 defending state champ versus Division 5 defending state champ. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, win puts you into the Final Four and
Yep.
2 games away from defending the state championship. Obviously, a goal that the team had from the start, and
Yep.
they're right on the doorstep now to complete that and get past a very good Glenville team and onto the Final Four.
Yep. Well, Gene, that wraps up week 14 of Walk the Plank, and thanks for securing John Camp. I thought he was a great guest, and we'll try to get some more people on as we expand the pod here a little bit and start to dive into different areas, especially as the winter season is upon us. But thank you for joining us. Don't forget, tell Alexa to walk the plank, and she'll play it for you. Get us wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of the week, and go Pirates.